And now an interesting phenomenon has begun to trend in Israel after first being recorded further west. Despite high unemployment in the wake of the pandemic, the number of workers quitting their jobs in Israel is likewise reaching record levels. With me to help uncover the reasons for this great resignation is consumer behavior expert Professor Vili Abraham. Vili, thank you so much for being with us again. What is causing this mass resignation? Is it burnout or maybe just jobs elsewhere, remote working?
Well, if you look at numbers, first of all, about 22–23% of all unemployed individuals today have left their jobs. The gap between the academics and non-academics, those who have digital skills and don't have digital skills, has narrowed in the last few years. And this happens more among the unskilled workers, older individuals, and low-wage earners. And I think that they're looking for other ways to make money, to bring home bread and butter. Because I think that today, if you look at the Israeli gig economy, which is an emerging economy, there are a lot of things you can do, and you can certainly make the minimum wage that you would be making if you work as a cashier or you work in the storage room. So I think all of these people are just looking for alternatives. And today, first of all, you can also be self-employed. And if you make up to 100,000 shekels a year, you'd be exempt from paying VAT. And it makes life much easier. So you can be a freelance digital marketer. You can be a consultant. There are so many things you can do today, being self-employed.
All right. How big of a drain is this on the economy, though, to have 20% of the unemployed choosing to be unemployed?
Well, they're choosing to be unemployed, but I think that eventually they'll be finding jobs. On the other hand, if you look at what the government is doing to try to lure in people into the high-tech sector, which is suffering from a great shortage. Before COVID-19, there were 15,000 openings in the Israeli high-tech industry, and today it's about 13,500. So we're talking about a 30% drop, but still a serious shortage, and that's what the government has already allocated $500 million for the next 5 years to help integrate people from the Arab sector into the high-tech industry. And now it's taking more steps to lure in other individuals. We're talking about people who are academics and non-academics, people who are from the Arab sector, women, individuals from the Orthodox Jewish community. So it's taking major steps in order to help people integrate into the high-tech, which is actually something that it's the engine that is pushing the Israeli economy forward, because we don't have any resources in the country, and the only resource is the human resource. And working in the high-tech industry is something that can bring you forward as far as economic prosperity for yourself and for the general economy.
All right, so bouncing back to something that you said earlier about the workforce maybe just holding out a little bit for a better opportunity. The younger generation is said to care a little bit more about what they do and not just how much they make. But what's the cutoff at which point that maybe switches to being a false statement? And will this trend help the economy or damage it? Are there increased creativity and pursuit of passions, or maybe just laziness and people wanting to take a short break?
Well, if you look at Israel, unfortunately, we're one of the least productive economies in the world. And I think that if people will be pursuing their dreams, do things that they really like, I think this will only increase productivity and will only boost the economy. Regarding the younger generation, if we're talking about millennials, if you're talking about the Z generation, yes, they will not work in any company. They will only work in companies that fit their worldviews, their values. And they will not compromise. And I think that today, because of so many opportunities, even if just to work as a freelancer, they just wait and, to pursue an opportunity that comes up and fits their goals.
Is this sort of trend of people waiting for, the best opportunity to come around or something that inspires them most? I think of economies evolving based on consumer behaviors and consumer demands, but it sounds like Israel's economy might actually shift based on employment and employee demands. Is that accurate? Is that something that we could see happening?
No, I don't think so. Look, the gig economy is something that is prevalent in all the Western world. There are a lot of people who are self-employed. I don't think this is something that we should be concerned about. I think most people still want to work in a place and get their paycheck every month and have a guaranteed salary. And if they can do something on the side, then it's always welcome. But we're talking about younger generations who I think eventually will be working in a place, in a high-tech company or in a very serious company, but still, as opposed to previous generations, if we look at our parents who worked in one place for a lifetime, this is not something that happens today. People or young millennials, they jump from one position to another, and usually the next place that they find either brings them up the hierarchy or increases their potential or salary. So they're not likely to remain in one place for 20 or 30 years like their parents.
All right, Billy Abraham, thank you again so much for being with us.
It was a pleasure.